All right, should be on now. Okay, so last time we did some really technical stuff with the archetype discussion and what makes characters different from one another. This time we're going to make something more uh, informal, or which doesn't mean that you guys are limited to being informal. I'm just saying this should be a little less technical than last time. So the topic this time is what makes fighting games good, or what makes for a good fighting game. You can interpret that question in any way you would like. We'll start with our impressions as usual, and then I have a huge list here. If there's stuff that we don't miss, we'll move from some more apparent factors that everybody knows about to more vague or external things as we continue the discussion. All right, and because I feel like I never start with him, this time we'll start with God Kaiser. So, you know the question. What's your answer?
Yes. Uh, I don't know. I guess a good fighting system makes a good fighting game. um, it has to have some compelling mechanics that are fun. For me personally, I don't know. Let me do some fun combos that look cool. Um, Also, I guess sound design is a big factor because when it sounds good, it helps to how is that? If
Provide
you make
more
a big punch and it
impact.
has a big sound, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Then you get the feeling of a big impact,
yeah,
and that
yeah, yeah.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
When you say that it should have like a compelling system other than letting you do good combos, do you have an example of what you mean?
oh no, I meant more like um, I like it more if you can do good combos or stylish combos um relatively easy. Like not like Bless Blue cross tag battle where you just smash two buttons and you get something out every time. Oh, but it shouldn't be like Street Fighter 4 where you have to do like frame perfect links.
I see. Okay, so that's what you meant overall. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides that, I mean, doesn't really matter if it lets you do much air stuff or not. It more depends on the style of the game, right? Like in anime games, you have more air combo stuff than it in Street Fighter or something like that, or in Mortal Kombat. It's more about juggling and Tekken especially.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay.
That can be
Then,
fun too. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. All right. Then, wandering around, I guess. Well, I know what Ezra is probably going to pop out with, so I'll move to someone else first. Andile.
I think an important thing is that you have options, a lot of options for characters without overwhelming you. So, what makes a good fighting game for me is like a good mix of being accessible while still being deep. Some games that go like, for example, Dragon Ball, it feels really shallow since characters combos feel so samey and everything, and you feel even if it's not true, you feel really quickly like you've discovered a lot of things in the game, and you have basically like seen everything, quote unquote. While other games go like way deeper with stuff like that. For example, in Melty Blood, I'm still finding out things while we're playing and still using like new techniques to get out of situations. While the game is still nice and accessible, even if you don't know everything of that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. So basically, like, how many things can be accessed for what little input on difficulty wise?
Not quite that. Just that the thing is that variety without overwhelming you. So like you don't have options that you absolutely need to do. Like you have 10 defense options that you really all of them you need every time, so you get out of defense or something like that. But you have your normal options that you can do those, but you also have advanced things that you can implement one after the other without like really hitting you all from the start, so that you can have like a nice progression of learning.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. Okay. Vic, how about you?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty close to what Andele says. We generally tend to like same type of game anyway. So yeah, having like enough of balance of also of defense and attack, not just being full defense or full attack is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
yeah, freedom to have like any play fight style you want with characters and common systems.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ezreal.
Yeah, what makes a good fighting game? One I'm having fun with. How that is achieved is, I guess, more of a problem, but since a lot of things were already set, like good option select, nice feedback in visuals and sound, I'd like to emphasize other things, which might not all be correlated to the game itself, but are important to make a good fighting game. Is, for example, also the community. If you can't have people to play your fighting game with, it might get might get boring a lot faster. So something like a community or a platform on which to play for it at all is very important. I guess it's also important to have fun with a game that it's giving you some characters or some nice flashy supers to work with. When I was younger, I played some custom-made Mugen Dragon Ball Z fighting games, which were all terribly balanced, completely nuts in terms of visuals, like mixing 3D and 2D and really, really bad 2D with custom characters all in all, but we just had fun like switching through the characters because we knew the brand Dragon Ball. We were watching the anime, which is also, I think, important for something today. If it's from a brand I notice, like some kind of Warhammer fighting game, I would totally look into that, no matter how bad it would be. Oh yeah, and if it's got a charged character, that's definitely a plus.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think like Ezra was already going in the direction of like what other factors could make like a fighting game fun. We've mostly talked about what our favorite kinds of fighting games are. Oh, I guess I didn't answer the question. Maybe I should do that before moving the discussion along. Yeah. I guess for me, like my favorite factor is kind of how do I say that? It's also a combination of things, like with all y'all. But I guess something that I really like is characters with specific kinds of game plans that you wouldn't find somewhere else. I guess that's more along the lines of what Andela was saying in terms of there's like a lot of characters that you can learn a lot of stuff with to make different things happen. Just that because usually the nature of fighting games boils down to like a 1v1 thing, and if we're just talking about like oberflächlich in English, surface level, then I guess that's something I really like. So inventive characters are cool, or just characters that have a unique take on something. And I get interested in the game, even if the game is overall maybe like not the best in other factors. Okay. As I was saying though, as we'll start this a little bit, so we can talk about like some factors that we didn't talk about yet in detail and say how important these are to us as players. I guess I'll just pick something at random. My mouse is currently over systems, so nobody really went into like how important like systems are for them, which I guess says a lot about the group of people that are gathered here. But yeah, I'll just, I guess, I'll go in a random order, since I know that Vic is sometimes a critic of this. Vic, so how important do you think systems are? So when I say systems, you can of course include stuff like combo systems, which at least God Kaiser mentioned too, but like anything that comes to mind, like I don't know, faultless defense or short hops, anything. Like how important are those, do you think?
I mean, it's nice to have them. You don't necessarily need a complex one.
Mm-hmm.
At least I like generally when it's like one that makes sense and that's the gameplay is centered around it, but just one, no need like for 10 billions. Kind of like Blaze Blue or most Arc System games.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the most important thing is like they offer like variety and like different options. Like I don't like generally Arc System game because their defense kind of suck. But a lot of people say there is like enough variety with like on many of the systems they add. So I guess it really depends people by people. You know.
Yeah. Okay. God Kaiser, how about you?
In terms of systems that are other than combo system, I guess.
Sure.
I
Unless
don't know, they're
there's
not so super important. There are some games that have systems that are cool and that are implemented well. I like Unis Grid system. That's a really cool one. And because it makes the gameplay fun, because it makes defense actually cool. Because you get a reward out of it. I don't know, something like Fortress Defense in Guilty Gear. It's overused for too much.
hmm.
Because you need to implement it for movement and stuff like that later on at some level of gameplay, and that's
Yeah.
kind of I don't know. Yeah, but besides that, I don't know. Systems are not that important as long as the rest of the game is good. It's more like a gimmick, I guess, to get a differentiation between your fighting game and something else, I guess.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So I thought it might go this way, but I guess everyone's going to go in a similar direction, but maybe not. Adele, what are your thoughts on systems and their importance? Maybe
Well,
even
the
just
thing
to
is
you.
like the system is the usually the overarching mechanics that every character had. So in my opinion, those are kind of important since, like I said, I like if you have options that are like if you have a bunch of options in in just for every character, and usually like system mechanics are a good way to do that because, for example, like the parry in Melty Blood, there's just a simple press of a button, and you have a lone button that's just for that, so it's kind of integral into the game, but it still gives you a bunch of options because you have like three different versions of that, and then you have moves that activate with a parry. And I think without parrying, multiplayer, for example, would be way less fun. So even if I don't realize it much, if just thinking about it, I think system mechanics are kind of important. Because yes, good system mechanics can make a game fun or just kind of boring. Since I guess calling the tag in Marvel a system mechanic would fit, and
Yeah.
that is the main thing of the game. That is what makes the game so fun. So yeah, that's the cool part about the game. While the assists in Dragon Ball, for example, they're kind of lame. They're super boring to use, and most characters have shitty assists, and they're just one move and then they move away. It's not as fun as something like Marvel. So yeah, system mechanics are like a big thing. You gotta make if they're good, the game is way more fun, and if they're kind of lame or bland, then the game is kind of lame or bland.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Like, I'll just hang my opinion right away onto yours, and then move over to Ezreal. Um, like especially when I started out with fighting games, I liked looking into systems a lot more than like how characters feel and such, because I mean like that's something you have to sort of develop with experience, right? Okay, when I say that, I actually mean like when I got back into fighting games a couple of years ago, because ironically, when I played like Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, systems were not a thing that I thought about whatsoever. But that's because like huge overarching systems that you can immediately see or read in the instructions manual with the book weren't really a thing with like earlier fighting games, right? Like you do have systems, but they're more non-obvious. Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of like along with Vic and what you said with the parries. Like I really like defense mechanics. Obviously, if it's too extreme, so that defense is really strong, that's not good. But on the other hand, fighting games are just as a thing really aggressive. Like I am not sure that there actually are fighting games where defense is just way too strong. Like I hear
Brawl,
people.
I guess.
Okay, I can't comment on that because platform fighters I'm not as knowledgeable on. But sure, what is it about Brawl that where it fails that?
It's
Like
really hard to kill people. You can like smash the eye and like the eye easily out of stuff, if I remember correctly. Just live like until 200%. Most people have like also like glide or system that help them to recover. I know there is no extra detail about that, but it's been a long time. Maybe on Delino?
I was just gonna say, you say people are hard to kill, but then Brawl has chain grabs and ice climbers and Meta Knight, and it's like I don't see that. Maybe on a casual level, yeah, but I don't see that.
Even top level, it was still like a really defensive game. Sure, you have like a chain grab and stuff, but you still had to do that for a long time compared to, I don't know, melee or ultimate, where you can kill someone really quickly.
Yeah, I guess I'm not. My memories to Brawl are not that fresh anymore. All I know are funny darker things. So yeah, I can't really say much to that.
Okay. But yeah, so maybe Brawl would be a game like that. A game where other people say is often too strong defense-wise is SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos. Due to the way meter works, because in that game you lose meter if you whiff a grab. You can always grab, but you lose a small percentage if you whiff grabs. And once someone is goes into max mode, they're really dangerous, so the other person usually just blocks. But offense isn't insane enough to really open up people easily. Like it's a more footsie-ish fighter, even though it's like an SNK. The SNK's version of that, so it plays a little bit like KOF and games like that. But even of that game, I don't feel that's necessarily true. Like I feel like people really need to think about what it means to really play a very defensive game. And I think like with the new Samurai Showdown, people are starting to understand what that looks like. Sam Show for me is actually still in the area where I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. 30 seconds of stare down before somebody hits someone, that's intense. But I guess that's sort of my take on that. And system wise, if you have a bunch of things that counter an opponent in some way, those are kind of cool. There's a really good feeling about it when you can call out someone's specific angle of attack or whatever they do, and you do the corresponding defensive maneuver. It's great. Ezreal, how do you feel about system mechanics?
I have to admit that the thought that there's something like systems never really occurred to me before I started with Skullgirls and got deeper into the fighting game thing. So I have to admit that the most of my experience in fighting games was completely aside from systems, also special moves, but that's another kind of story. So I guess it's fine and fun or exploring them. And if you get in a higher level on a game, it's important that the blend of systems used there, defensive and offensive, give a good mixture. But in the end, it's about that mixture. We have games with infinite combos where we say, oh yeah, look at those infinites, pretty cool, right? And we have games with fast combo enders where we also say, hey, it's nice the combo isn't infinite. So it seems like anything can be made fun. And therefore, I would say yes, system is important, but rather how they play out in combination in the end, and not like I like a parry system or I like good combo systems or whatever that means.
Yeah, indeed, it's like more the coherent whole of the game, right? And how that feels, because we've had this sometimes where God Kaiser and I basically played this game, which is maybe the earliest, but probably one of the earliest games that has like something that's just like a guard cancel, right? So you get blocked. I mean you block, and then you can cancel into a move and retaliate, and basically stop your guard your block stun frames. But like what was that game called again? It was like with robots.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, game with robots. It failed financially, but that aspect, like that system, was a pretty good idea. Was pretty cool, and the game had other good ideas. But actually playing it, it felt super lame. Like the characters were overall a little bit limited in what they could do. Weren't really cool combos that we could easily see from trying the game. So yeah, like it seemed like there was stuff there, but you couldn't really do a lot with it. So something we'll probably never return to. Game that I don't even remember the name of. All I know is that it had an upside down robot named Dali, and he just looked like Salvador Dali. So yeah. But yeah. So I guess I'll just ask about various elements and we can talk about those. So Ezra said something like anything can be made fun or put together. So we've talked about separate elements together, but there's like also other things like how about like the nature of gameplay at different ranges, right? Like what it feels like to be at neutral, zoning, melee range, how you transition between those, or if the game plays in like a certain region. Just to give an example so people understand. Most extreme example, I guess, is that as people here have noticed, when you play Under Night in Birth, suddenly you're playing like at like an extremely weird range compared to other games, right? Like it's like 3 sweep distance between each other rather than 1.5 or 2 at most, right? Just one is very far apart from one another with a lot of characters, and you still do pressure or hit someone in neutral and then go into a combo. So are there ranges where you feel like those feel particularly good, or part of the screen that's used in a certain way, or movement? Anything that has something to do with that you think is particularly good or bad when we're talking about fighting games? And I guess I'll ask, go semi-reverse and ask Ezreal first.
So what's kind of special systems I'm really looking out for?
No, like is there stuff at like specific fighting game ranges of characters to one another, or the way that they move, or which parts of the screen that they all can occupy or move to, or even in specific ways. Is there anything there that you find particularly interesting or particularly disgusting? If you'd have no opinion on that particular part, that's fine. Then I'll just move on.
It's fine. I actually do have kind of opinion, but I have to admit that it's depending on the game what character I play. Like if I'm playing Street Fighter 4 I want to get up close and personal with a boxer, I am like, oh my god, how can you play a Shoto? That's so disgusting. You're either shooting fireballs, or if I'm getting close, spam Shoryukens, and it's always feels bad for me. And there's another in-birth where I'm playing the Zona, and I'm like, wow, you can't even get in. Why are you so bad? Stop hitting yourself in the head with my fireballs. So yeah, I have to admit that's kind of from perspective from game to game a little difference. It's the same with Smash. Like I usually don't like to play very aggressive and fast characters in games like I mentioned, like Street Fighter and Another In-Birth, but in the platform fighters, I like floaty and lightweight characters suddenly, and then I'm the one like, oh my god, how can you play a guy with such a huge sword? It's completely unfair. And yeah, I guess it just changes from fighting game to fighting game I'm playing.
Yeah, but that's an insight. That's a thing. Vic, how about you?
I'm not sure I have like something for specific ranges. At least like compared to system.
Sure. Anything
I
with
do
movement?
like to have my range.
Yeah.
Don't really like having just the normal cheaty range.
Yeah. And anything movement related would count too. Basically, like anything that involves moving around on the screen or meeting one another.
Then generally the more the better.
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you like bouncing around.
Yeah, exactly. That's always fun. So I mean, like high jump, hop, double jump, and stuff like that are always fun. Dashes are always a plus, but yeah, can go without it. Like Asuka is like a perfect example of that. Don't really need air dashes in this game. Thanks to the hair control you have due to the double jump and the high jumps.
Yeah, indeed. That game's also awesome because it has a bunch of defense mechanics.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Adele.
I personally like it as well. Like, I used to be a full close-up guy, and as soon as someone shot like 2 fireballs, it was like, how could you? But nowadays I'm a bit more open to that, and I like games that make it again really fluid, where you can like go into aggressiveness and then just suddenly swap mode, shoot like 2 or 3 fireballs, see how the enemy reacts, and then like do something from there on out. For example, that's why I really love playing Aoko, since she has good fast fireballs that are just like a quick check to see what the fuck the enemy is pressing, and then you can do other things again. And she also has those traps that can control a good amount of screen while still having decent, very aggressive pressure when you just air hop in and do like 3 air dashes above the enemy. And same thing for Marvel. Marvel is really fun because you can also go from hyper aggressiveness to suddenly shooting 5 fireballs, swapping to your partner, and shooting 10 more. I love when you can like really explore everything and swap around and do multiple things while also allowing specific playstyles still. So like if people want to go in full on ham, I like when they can, even if I myself don't necessarily really want to do that all the time. So yeah, it's all about variety.
Okay. God Kaiser, do you have something to add to that?
Not really. I'm kind of on Andele's side on that. Yeah. Like
Okay.
I personally like characters that are moving fast and are in your face, but it's still nice to have like a fireball with a good range to check people. Like Inonis Lin, like her fireballs are great for that because you can TK them easily, or you can dash cancel them, stuff like that, and get good opportunities out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And her Judge B1 goes almost full screen, so yeah. And you still get a combo out of it if you do it right.
Yeah. As for myself, well, I kind of like extremes, I guess, when it comes to movement specifically. Either something that's extremely hyper mobile, can teleport all over the place, or if everyone's forced to barely move because of something that I do, that's nice too. I don't necessarily mean because I lock them down. That's actually not what I mean at all. That's locking down is only fun if the opponent has like a lot of movement options, but I'm forcing him not to do them. But that's more about like a zoning mind game, right? I'm just setting I keep throwing things into his face, so now he's scared. But I mean more like if you have a game where people can only move very little or have to like do micro positional footsies and stuff, that Street Fighter 4 stuff that you do sometimes, where people really just wiggle back and forth, and it's like, bam, I stabbed you with the edge of my finger. Oh no, if I just not moved that pixel forward. I kind of like that as well. And like I said, if not that, then just a character that can walk on walls in the ceiling. Perfect. Anything weird like that. And as for that pertaining to neutrals and zones of influence and where you can move and stuff, yeah, I kind of agree, like with what you guys said. Like the variety there is most important. I do like it when a game plays at a range or uses part of the screen that's usually not used as much. I don't particularly mean Marvel games, because in Marvel games usually it's like what part of the screen isn't used. So that's not necessarily specifically unique, but two examples, like one I gave already, Under Night In-Birth, right? It has a strange range of engagement that's not zoning, but still it's like way further apart than you have in other games. Or like Double Dragon, where you have these really weird upwards air floatsy footsies with some characters. And I play a very immobile character compared to others in that game, right? I play a Bobo. He can't jump as high as other people, and a lot of his maneuvers from his jumping normals are angled downward, so people are usually above me. But that provides like a unique kind of challenge in terms of where on the screen people are and what I have to do. So I really enjoy playing a Bobo in that game, even though everyone's all over the place and I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Then how about some? Let's see. It's 1841. Let's talk about features, because I'm sure that nobody here cares too much, but cares about some slight ones. Now, basically what I mean with features is how important do you think for a game is it to have, well, obviously good net play, let's not talk about that, but stuff like additional modes. Of course someone should have a training mode, and training mode should be good, so I mean more like challenges for training modes, or just challenge modes, like time attack or survival, stuff like that. Or like a good arcade or story mode, unlockables, or maybe just quality of life options where, thank you, I can reset my keyboard keys from, well, I guess those are just important, everyone should have that. Fuck games where the only directions you can press is WASD and all four directionals. As much as I love NPB and MAAB, that's a MAB. It's just terrible that those are always on that place. Sorry, that was confused, but I think you kind of get what I mean. Vic, how about you?
Features?
Yeah.
that are linked to the system, especially because like outside like netplay and stuff, I'm type of person who don't really care like how much solo content there is.
Yeah.
Just need like a good versus, a restart button, some replays, and good online. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't need much.
you're basically good. It's why I asked you first. I think most people here are like,
Oh.
solo, what is that? So
A good running mode. That's really important.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully one day, someday, someone will look at Eternal Fighter Zero again and use this. And I want to start playing myself from the replay at this point, so I could learn what I
Yeah.
could do different. Like, that's so amazing, and it's bizarre that no other game has done this. Andele.
It's like, yeah, I agree. For classical fighting games, I don't really care for the extra modes. Usually they're like either kind of boring or don't do anything for me. If they're like really crazy sometimes, but even then usually I don't really touch them.
Example?
Um it's like, just if the mode, I don't have a specific example, but if the mode goes like completely against what the actual game is. I only have an example for Smash. For like Subroom Emissary, it was like a brawl, a special story mode, where instead of just fighting people on a stage, you were actually fighting mobs that had health bars, and you had to deplete the health bars, while you yourself still got launched when you got hit. That was really crazy, and like, I really liked that playing it back then. And nowadays I wish that the new Smash games had a mode like that, because the new story mode thing where the enemies just get cheats is fucking boring. It's just
Yeah.
playing with cheats and everything. Playing like a creative mode like that where the game is completely different, that's the only time where I really like where I play single player. I For 2D fighting games, I don't know any games that have done that. I liked Guilty Gear Story Mode because it was just an anime and I didn't have to play any boring story fights. And yeah, in Smash, I also like the item play sometimes when friends are over and stuff like that, like fun multiplayer things. But those are not really in classical fighting games. I don't know many classical 2D fighting games where you can put items on and then play with 3 of your friends together.
Yeah.
Granblue will try something close to another game in the game, let's say.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, because that's sort of what I want out of a fighting game story mode.
Yep.
Okay. Just to confirm, Andele, so you mean something that modifies the actual fight that's going on a lot, or would you also say that stuff like Tekken Ball is enjoyable? Do you know what Tekken Ball is?
No, but I'm guessing you play something like volleyball and Tekken.
Yes.
Exactly.
You got
It sounds funny. That sounds like a story mode I would be more interested in than just fighting some NPC.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
usually I don't mean like just modifying the game, because that could also stuff like in World of Light and in the Smash thing, you fight against things with spirits and they give them like special effects. Those fights are not fun because these special effects are just literally cheating. Like some enemies are just giant, or hey, they're 3 times as strong, or you have random ass wind that pushes you around the stage.
Yeah.
Not something like that. If the game is like really different, then I like it.
I see. Godkaiser, how about you?
It depends. I don't really need survival mode and time attack and stuff like that. I only play that like a couple of times if I want to unlock all of the achievements from that game. Like in Unis, I played every mode, but just for the achievements.
Yeah.
Story modes. I don't like cinematic story modes like Street Fighter V had, or every NetherRealm game. Because those are really annoying. You get like an hour of cutscene, and then one random fight with a random ass character you don't know shit about. And that's always annoying. I like story modes though, but then I want the story mode that's either full on gameplay with just a little bit of story, like Smash does for most of the times. Like I'm not so against World of Light. It's not the best, but it's okay, I guess. Subspace Emissary was a lot better though.
Yeah.
Yeah, or or like Unis or Blast Blue does or Guilty Gear, where it's just a visual novel on CG anime, and I can just watch it for 12 to 20 hours and get my lore, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I can get my gameplay in online matches and stuff, right? Then
Yeah.
I can use that to relax a little bit from training,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can get back into fighting people online or into training mode, labbing. So
I
that's
see.
enjoyable, but I don't need like half an hour to an hour cutscene and then one fight with Joker or Batman or whatever. And then I sit there for half an hour because I need to lap out moves and stuff. Because who
Yeah.
plays fighting games on easy, right? Always crank that shit up to the highest difficulty.
Yeah. I guess since my opinion sort of relates to what the last few people said, I'll say mine before going to Ezreal. So I actually like it if I'm playing a story mode and then I do the fight. And to be fair, like God Kaiser said, that means that I put it on one round in easiest difficulty because I do just want to walk over the person. But I just kinda, I don't know. Um, I'd like to beat somebody's face in a meaningful manner. Problematically, a lot of story modes from games like that are like, well, the story is going to progress no matter if you won or not. I.e., it's like, oh, I totally beat this guy, but this guy just showed up and is supposed to be super powerful. So after I super kicked this guy's ass nearly perfectly, the story starts and my character's like, oh, he's so strong, I can't believe it. And it's like, no, man, I just crushed him. He ain't nothing. That's sort of a problem. Which is why like I'd like it there to be a different kind of story mode where you can make fights more in that direction that they fit. And I realized that goes sort of into the beat 'em up direction, but hey, maybe fighting games and beat 'em ups diverged too early and just need to sort of come back again. So I'm looking forward to the Grand Blue Fantasy versus the single player, which is even co-opable, right? So that's nice.
Co-op online even, I think.
Yes, I believe that is true. I feel like I want to add something to that, but apparently I forgot. Ezreal, how about you?
Yeah, I guess most solo modes I don't really crave, like the survival and time attack thingies. I never really enjoyed them in any game I've ever played. But some kind of alternative game modes, like the story mode in Platform Fighters or the Tekken beach ball thingy,
Yeah,
as well as some Soul Calibur Weapon Master mode, those
right.
I actually enjoyed from time to time, depending on the game, of course. A feature I really miss because I liked it in a few early fighting games I played is the team battle. Like here's 6 characters versus your 6 characters, and the health just remains the same after each fight, or you might even get like a little bonus for winning the fight and regenerate some. Always thought that this is a mode that should be in way more fighting games. But another feature, which is completely imperative, and we haven't talked at all about because I guess it's just more a technical difficulty, is that you are able to set your goddamn controls, even on this evil thing called a keyboard. The only
I
reason
mentioned
why
it
I
briefly.
have never picked up Street Fighter V like for real, even though I bought it and played a few rounds in it, was simply because the first months this game existed on the PC,
Years.
you couldn't change the controls. And even though I like looking at it and am interested to see what new characters come out, or even what of the old ones, I guess I'll never get back into it because the hype is gone. So
Yeah,
yeah, that would be an important one.
yeah. Keyboard control accommodation really needs to be more of a thing. And I agree with that team fighting mode. By the way, it completely slipped my mind. This pseudo King of Fighters mode that only every now and then in modern games pops up, but was actually something that we played a bunch in Soul Calibur 2 back in the day, and even in Mortal Kombat 2 on the SNES. So
Yeah, or Dead or Alive too was also great.
Smash Ultimate has a mode that's similar to it, where
Cool.
every stock is a new character.
That's cool.
And on that note, I also really like. That's the one thing I really, really like in Dragon Ball Fighter, so that you can play like 2 teams with like 5 friends, so 3 versus 3, and everybody's like one character.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that shit's awesome.
So I see Vic just wrote, just play more KOF. You
Yeah,
don't
when you were
get
saying
it.
that, it's basically like a KOF system, so you just go there. Yeah.
I know, but it can be fun as like a side mode to just be like, okay, look, I have 3-4 characters, you have 3-4 characters. How about we put them in a row and throw them against each other? That it's just something that used to feature in several fighting games and it's just no longer a thing. I mean, it was also in and I think this is like also the strength of this mode. In Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma Extend, you actually had this as an online mode with people, right? So you could have people in Team A and Team B, and they would pick a character each, and then they would decide their order, how they would go in, and it would work exactly like this mode that normally is played offline with 2 people, but now every character is a person. And hey, at least in King of Fighters 14, they actually have this as an online mode. It's their regular gameplay now with everyone can be a character. But yeah, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z also has like a team mode like that, and that's a hyper fighter, which is must be confusing to play, but probably fun. I guess that is definitely a thing. It will be cool. All right. Unless there's something else about that, like to talk about something different. I guess as usual, just keep going. Stop me if there was something you wanted to say. So what we talked about were like a lot of things that are in the game or that are menus where you start up a game or have something to do with something like that. But what's also kind of exists is like how a game feels, right? God Kaiser already said something about that in terms of sound design, where how much of an oomph you feel from the sound effects of hitting people, right? That's one very important aspect. But there's also like kind of haptic feedback things, right? Those can be about like execution, how good it feels to do like a combo or a certain special move, how the movement feels, like how you in what way your character responds to your stick or other input device movements, certain timings, various things. So haptic meaning to touch for those that are like, what the hell was that word? Yeah. So I guess this time I'll start. To me, that's actually pretty important. I like it when a game feels good. I don't have a specific way that I think games feel good. Like, I think, as with other things, it's more like the complete whole of the thing. But I do have a preference towards games where movement is very fluid. Like, when my character really responds very well to what I'm doing. So, Melty Blood is something, for example, that I like very much. Now, it's not the most important thing. I do like some games where movement feels pretty clunky, but I still like the game a lot. But that's sort of important to me. Or just doing certain rhythms in a combo also feels kind of nice. I'm not that good at combos, so I don't have a specific example. I guess as well. Do you have something like that? Haptic feedback. You can say no, and I'll get to go to the next person. That's fine.
No. Also
Good.
because my keyboard doesn't rumble.
I guess, yeah. I've always felt that keyboarders might really need some rhythmic combos to get the same thing out of that as a stick, but like, yeah, maybe that's a thing. Andele.
It's a bit like you said. It's like, yeah, there's certain things that make a game like feel better and stuff, but it's kind of hard to put the finger on what exactly it is, what makes it so great for me. Usually, I would just say the standard answer, which is movement. Movement being good makes a game more fun, and yeah, it's kind of hard to say something to that because, like, yeah, sound design and stuff is important, and how it looks as well. But then we play Marvel a shit ton right now, and Marvel looks like fucking crap. But the game is so extremely fun since you have such fun mechanics and everything. It's a weird mix of everything that makes a game great. I guess, and it really depends on all other factors. Like, great sound is always cool when you like really feel the impact and stuff. But if you couple it with like really bad animations or something like that, it's still gonna be meh.
Sure. God Kaiser.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot about the feel of moves and impact and stuff. And I mean, in fighting games where you have licensed characters from other franchises like Marvel vs. Capcom or Smash and stuff like that, it's always nice if the character is portrayed well. And if he also feels like in Smash, it's always nice if the character kind of feels like from his original game. In terms of movement and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also in Marvel, I guess. It's really nice because when you play Spider-Man, you really feel like Spider-Man. To quote IGN here.
Sure.
And that's always good. So yeah, it's a lot about movement and how special moves and buttons feel. Like if you press your button and your light punch feels like you hit people with a wet noodle, that's not fun.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Vic, I know this is also something that interests you as much as me, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Though it's hard to add more like, to it, I guess.
You can
I do
talk
like
about rock loops.
some specific like move or some specific stuff. Like I said, like last time, dash into command grab can feel really great if it's like set up in correct way. Like dashing and having like then a half circle back or quarter circle back or something going backward feels way better than having to dash and then half circle forward, like SNK does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also that it's really dependent. Like the speed, the gravity of the game change a lot about like how you feel about it. I'm totally okay playing Honda in 2x, but I wouldn't be okay playing Honda in Marvel or something like that. So it just depends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Okay. I guess we kind of got everyone's input on that. So I think we covered most of the things that are important. Something that we didn't talk about was like historical things, or oh, and I guess Andele did touch upon like how good learning something feels, or how much you can learn. And Godkaiser did too. We didn't really talk about like how good the 1v1 feels, but I feel like that's kind of the same across fighting games. Like if everything works out, then then you're playing fighting games, and fighting games feel good in general. So don't really have to talk about that. So since we're almost out of time, I'm just going to ask a more fun question. Feel free to leave it uncommented, but if you have a comment, you can just say it. So what's your favorite fighting game, if you have one? And we'll start with, let's see, who would give the most normal answer here. Sorry about this, I'll call you out. God Kaiser.
Under Night in Worth.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes. Okay. Andele.
I think, to be honest, right now is like I should probably say Marvel, since I'm really getting into that. It's super fun, like Marvel Infinite. Or Marvel 3 is also shit fun, but we're playing more Marvel Infinite right now, and also gameplay is really good. But to be honest, I really like Dengi Kibunko Fighting Climax. I want to play that again because the game is so fun, since you have the anime characters and stuff. Like the IP is super cool and it's simple, but I guess I don't remember how complex it could get. But it just felt fun to play. So I guess I'm just gonna fucking Dengi Kibunko Fighting Climax Ikenishon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like I think either Vampire or Asuka. I have a hard time deciding. Basically, something where I feel like my footsies matter, but I can move around a bunch. I play Felicia in Vampire Savior. But I also have some sort of defense options. So in Vampire, obviously, like it's so fast, and I guess the speed is something that I really enjoy too. That it's not really about defense options there as much. But if you do get off some good push blocks or guard cancels in that game, it's kind of cool when it happens, just because of how fast it is. I like the physical challenge of the game in this case. I like that people are just thrown at each other at like high speeds. I enjoy that. Whereas in Asuka, it's really more like, okay, I could counter his counter with this counter, but maybe I need to take a step backwards to do this. And that sounds like the game would be really defensive, but you end up actually being constantly active and attacking each other because of the mechanics, I guess. And I just really enjoy that. I play Megumi in that game, so also a character that's pretty fast and gets to move a lot. Yeah. Then Ezreal.
I guess I'll just be boring and say Street Fighter 4 because that's I guess the game I spend most time with playing with other people, even though Skullgirls might be a close second.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone that listens to this like Street Fighter 4, but Skullgirls might be a close second. What kind of deviant is this? Those games have nothing to do with one another. Yeah. Okay. Vic, you're the last one.
I think I certainly have to say Melton. I do like Vampire, but I guess the problem is it's breaking my hand, and there is like too hard stuff to do if you want to get really good. So it's kind of discouraging.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Melty Blood and Asuka, I guess that would be like the two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we really like modern games over here, I guess. Well, we had Unis at least. At least someone doesn't live in the past here. Well, fighting games are usually alive for a long time, so it's not like
My honorable mentions. My honorable mentions would be Marvel 3, Jojoban, and that's it, I guess.
Sure. If we go into honorable mentions, though, we'll be here for quite a long time. I at least have at least 20 games where I'm like, hey, these are really great. So let's not. Okay. Unless someone has anything to add, I think we can leave it at that. So what makes fighting games good? A lot of things. Yeah. All right, then I'll shut this off.
Nice.